Okay, good evening, everybody. So we ended off last night where we're freely under the mashgiach of Panovich, one of the greatest thinkers of the mid-20th century, and the greatest seminary teachers of Ramchal, and his own works, the Sifsei Chaim, are classics. The person who published, one of the two or three people responsible teaching for publishing and teaching the works of his own great teacher of Dessler. So, he talked about this idea of this one, what does it mean that one mitzvah, the praklit, that you have to look as literally where even the small things could, which has any potential to be much worse. You mentioned like if you're almost in an accident or you even get sick or you're in some kind of difficulty, you should look at it at the extreme to see that it's a wake-up call. It's a warning, and you need to do mitzvahs. And we mentioned you need big defenders, you need big schusim, but the big was that even if part of the mitzvah is for the right reason, l'shem shamayim, that itself, that 1 in 1,000 could be the straw that broke the negative camel's back, which gets you over the finish line, which redeems a person, which frees a person. And the importance, not just I have bitachon and I don't have to do anything, I don't have to worry anything. Yeah, we need to have bitachon. Yeah, we need to have faith. We also need to be proactive in doing something to better the situation. They talked about this too. I mentioned last night about that my brother-in-law's teacher 20 years ago, approximately, who told him he can't be religious because he can't fear God and love God. We all know that you certainly could fear God and you certainly you could love God, and we're obligated to do both for that reason. And the same thing here. We're in a crisis, in a serious situation. We're obligated to have a certain awareness of the danger and look to fix it and to be better ourselves at tshuva. And the same level, to know that if we do our part, then we're guaranteed success. Even if the outcome is not what we wanted necessarily, but we're guaranteed that it's going to be with bracha and success. And we can even hope, legitimately hope for a very positive outcome that we could see. That's what we spoke about last night. Yeah. And this is as follows. Be'ez kazu, done in that time. And Be'ez kazu, let me just see if he has a date over here. Just says it was given in an year, right, in the days right before the 6-day war. Be'ez kazu sheklal hatzibur be'eretz Yisrael nimsa b'sakana. At this time, when the entire congregation of Israel is in a situation in a matzav of sakana, of acute danger. An individual should not say, "I'm going to hide for myself from a tzara. I'm going to excuse myself. I'm going to recuse myself. There's nothing I can do. This is way beyond my skill. If it's in my little shoulder, my community, or my block, someone needs to in my block. Okay, I can fix the block. I can't fix the whole system over here. I don't have an army. I'll let the government worry about it. It's not my problem. I'm not army age. I don't have to worry about it. This is not my problem. Or I'm only an individual. This is I can't make any decision between Klal Kulo. Adarabah. On the contrary, Adarabah. Alav lachshov, it's a opinion upon you to think. You were born in this time. You were living in this place, right? You could have been born a Yankee living in Boston or in Philadelphia. Those are Yankee cities, or New York in 1967. But you're living in Eretz Yisrael. You're in the land of Israel. Hashem put you there in this time, and you're living in 1967. You are obligated to step up to the plates. Mutelas alav achrayis lepol Yeshuas. By the way, in New York or Boston, Philadelphia, that time you'd also be obligated to but you weren't in little danger like they were. Mutelas alav achrayis lepol Yeshuas hatzibur ayidei riboy ma'asim. You are obligated to do for the betterment, to do your part to fix the tzibur. through your good deeds. Now, we have the honor of having the esteemed Larry Kosden, on this Zoom call, and I know Laser, always does his part with the recycling, always. So, and the truth is every individual will affect the world at some level of recycling, but and I'm always inspired by his dedication and devotion under normal circumstances to make sure things are recycled and to take care of the material of the physical world. That on that level, we all could contribute as individuals, but in everything that has an effect. But it doesn't. And I'm not. It's not the same thing here. It's much more profound. It's not just that if you do it and I do it, everyone does it, so it affects the world. Literally, one person could be the entire difference between success and failure. You see, if you recycle and nobody else in the world does it, well, I wouldn't call it in vain because you did the right thing, but it's hard to be successful in those circumstances. But if you are inspiration to others and other people recycle, of course, it all adds up. But if you do this, you as an individual could be the one to turn the tide, nothing less. Reboy Mason told me, you wake up right now, what could I be doing? What's come and done? What could I do? How could I be the one that it's the merit, literally between life and death, between success and failure? Because Baruch Hu mechake, because Baruch Hu kavayachol waits, mitzapa, and hopes that we should improve our ways, that we should better our ways. And even a small good deed of a yachid, an individual, that one individual could be the difference between merit and savior. Moshe Amru Chazal, as the Talmud says in Kedushin Memam Beis 40b, you have to look at yourself. You are right now 50% meritorious, 50% guilty. Asa mitzvah. Achas, it could be that one mitzvah will put you on the side. You put your side on the side of merit and the world. It could be that it's your one mitzvah that could put the ganze Welt, the whole world, it's a beer. Okay? Frecht asked Chaim Freelander, what does it needs explanation? What does this mean? Come on, what does this mean? That why should you visualize to yourself? If because it was something far out. Come on, let's be honest. I'm going to be the one. Me, Ploni Almoni, me, Joe Schmo. I'm going to be the one that changed the world. I'm the one that I'm doing a bit. I'm 50-50. I'm exactly 50% meritorious, exactly 50% liable. You should be able to my comments in himself. The Duke in the whole world is exactly on the line, right? It's an election. It's 79,888,000, 887 on each side, and your one vote is 888, the 79 million, and that just changes the whole election. Like, come on. And that, if I would tell you that in an election that the one vote, that's thinking crazy. But here, for instance, the Chazal saying in an election where there's 150 million votes in America, it's actually not that much, less. But even if it would be, to trillions, mitzvah, there's trillions, more than trillions, quintillions. I mean, you can't imagine how many mitzvahs in here. And this exactly the same. Let's be real. What's the chances? Not nogea. It's not applicable. Your action, we machriya the kavanas chazal. What are the sages? What is the Chachmei Talmud? What are the sages of the Talmud telling us? Sanhedrin telling us. What it's really telling us that why should you visualize it's 50-50? Because the real explanation is it's what they want us to understand. How choshev, how important is every good deed, every ma'isa. Every good deed, every good thought, every positive thought, it has the capacity, it has the ability to be machriya lekaf schus. That in that one good deed can make all of the difference. Can make the difference between success and failure. That one good deed. We have to put into our hearts. Shekol raga shalimad Torah. Now he's talking to yeshiva, and certainly we say it every day in Birchas Torah. The Talmud Torah keneged kulam. This is something Torah study. You and I should be bothered when people attack Torah scholars for sure, and even yeshiva bachrim. Now, whether every person, everything, we're not discussing sociological realities right now, but there's no question everyone learning Torah helps the world immensely. It's the greatest chesed. Talmud Torah Knei Kulam. Torah studies Knei Kulam, and who it applies to, under what circumstances. Again, is a larger discussion, but it's a merit. For sure, it's a merit. Everyone learning Torah. And when we learn Torah, it's a tremendous merit for ourselves and our family and the world. Kol rega shalom Torah v'chol machshava, and every thought. And think to yourself, okay, I'm learning the pasuk, I'm learning the Rashi, I'm learning the Gemara, whatever it may be, and I can just go right there and not understand it. If I push a little more, I'll get a little bit more understanding. You understand it a little bit more, a little more depth to it. That extra depth has tremendous impacts in the upper world and in this world. And in 1 minute, 2 minutes, right? Had a tremendous impact. You push yourself a little bit more in your learning, in your etzipus. Biyadin shamayim etzmaseinu could literally transform our personal circumstances, l'toiv, and for merit, and the whole world's circumstances for merit. In Dafka, I said that Rav Torah Finlander, man, he was saying this live in 1967, days before the war. Especially during these days. We're waiting for events. We're waiting for all kinds of actions. Maybe a war will start. Now, we can say this today. Imagine being in the room when this is going on, and there is an atmosphere of death that accompanies the tzibur, the rule of the large of Israel. You felt a sword to your neck. We need more merits. We have to put into the feeling of the impact of every action, word, and thought, even the little ones. That could be the difference. One thing which is amazing about for the coders over here, I don't know, I'm still not going to darshan on coding with people like Yitzhak Fagan on the call, but I'm not making chips or anything else. But if you could have one little thing wrong, and that's it. One person could tamper the whole team. One person can mess up everything. One person could have a solution which everything was good, and there's one little problem, and that person has a solution. The one person could be the difference for Klal Yisrael. In the 1967 war, there was a very, very famous story. We know that on the first day of the war, the Israeli Air Force, which is really what saved the Israel and then allowed them to be very successful. On the first morning of the war, they totally destroyed the Egyptian and Syrian Air Force. They annihilated it, which is miracle after miracle, how that happened, and surprise, and way beyond anyone's expectations. But on the third day of the war, or I think it was the third, that Jordan joined into the war, and Jordan was actually on the border, like on Jerusalem. So they started shooting mortars over. They were lobbing mortars. Right? In the beginning, Israel tried to tell Jordan, "Don't go into the war." They went into the war. Baruch Hashem, we got Yerushalayim and Hebron and Kever Rachel, and a lot of Palestinians. It's a different story, but that's what happened. But when the mortars started coming, everyone went to the bomb shelters because Jordan, like when you talk about the West Bank, and I mentioned this a little while ago, when Abba even said it, it was the Auschwitz lines. It was so dangerous. People. I don't want to make a statement about Land for Peace. Was it realistic ever? I don't think it's at all realistic today. Is it possible? Discussion. But if you don't start with the premise, then first of all, that most of the or Mesh say most, that many of the Palestinians, especially those of Hamas, like to kill us, and they're not peaceful. That's number one. Number two is the 1948 lines are death lines. It means anything goes wrong, you're in immediate danger. And what happened was, when Jordan entered the war, they started lobbing mortars immediately onto Jerusalem, onto the west side of Jerusalem, because they were literally 50 yards away, going down Shmuel Navi. That was the dividing line between Jordan and Israel. So you had a huge Jerusalem today. Yerushalayim is the largest population of any city in Israel, right? You had a huge population in Yerushalayim, and it's literally 50 meters away were mortars and rockets and who knows what guns you could be shot at from the East Jerusalem. And the Mir Yeshiva, literally, I went to the Mir Yeshiva. The Mir Yeshiva was about 100 meters from the Jordanian line. It is totally, you can't, where the Mir Yeshiva is today, it's 100 meters away from the Jordanians were at the time. And they were shooting missiles, a mortar and the yeshiva went down and went to the bomb shelter. And what happened is that at one point a mortar got hit into the building. The building shook, but it didn't actually explode. It hit the building. It didn't actually explode. When that happened, when the building got a direct hit, they thought the building would collapse on the bomb shelter. And everyone was panicking in the bomb shelter. And one of the greatest tzaddikim, righteous people, said, what was the merit? We were all saying, in that basement, Rabbi Chaim Shmulevitz, who said this, was a person who knew Kol HaTorah Kula, was a person who was known for his tzidkis, his righteousness, his greatness in Torah. Already in Europe as a young person, there were big Torah scholars in that basement. There was members of the Mir Yeshiva there. There was local members of that area, which is many holy Jews. So what was the merit that he thought that they were saved? When the mortar hit the building, this lady was known in the neighborhood that her husband abused her, and he left her without a get, and she was in a guna, and she was in a terrible situation. And she screamed out, at that moment, that they had, please God, save us. I even forgive my husband. I forgive. Don't hurt any of us. Just I even forgive my husband. And he said that was the man. He was positive that's how they were saved. Like the building, it should have exploded. The building should have collapsed on the bomb shelter, and it would have been stuck below. Who knows what would have happened? But the point is he felt that one action. If he would have said, "Who would be the Chaim Shmulevitz?" Chaim Shmulevitz, I see. So I've quoted him dozens of times over the years. Rosh Yeshiva, big people in there. Now this one lady, her forgiving that bum that she was married to was the difference between life and death. And we have to be cognizant that whether we daven Shachris in the mornings now, or Mincha, or how we daven, or we're going to learn Torah, Chesed, it makes all the difference. You have to realize, I'll call Echad ve'Echad on every single person of the tzibur. Tzarech lahargish esma lasok yach. You have to feel your role as a yachid. You, again, if you and I say esteem not lightly for Laser Kazan, who recycles, he takes it very seriously for the world, and that's a great thing to do. But you can't affect the whole world as an individual. You can do your part. You can inspire others, perhaps. You could help something, but this actually the Gemara says it can even be perhaps even a door doesn't generate. It could be that one person, their spiritual status. I mean, it's an amazing thing. Their spiritual reality. The Gemara says that Chanina Mendoza was so righteous that the world literally existed in his merits, and we all have to feel at this point. Now you may say, I'm not Rabbi Chanina Mendoza. No one's Rabbi Chanina Mendoza in our church. That's true, but there are so many people doing things, and it could be you or I. Don't think it's the Jew in Bnei Brak or Yerushalayim or New York, Lakewood, wherever, or some rabbi somewhere. It could be you or I. It makes all the difference. It's not a joke. That lady saved. How much Torah did she save? It could be the one person that, that makes all the difference. You have to feel that. That's cheshiva shel kol ma'aser ma'aser, and to feel the actions of every person. That seems to be pretty lowly and simple in your eyes. So the more that you are cognizant, you're aware of, and you appreciate the value, the importance of your deeds. But is ametz laharbes ma'asim tovim. Of course, if you see, I was listening. Somebody sent me today a very famous philanthropist who did a lot of good things for the Jewish people. Passed away exactly 2 years ago. It must have been today because that's why I sent it to me today. And he did a lot of. He was a very, very, very wealthy person, but he also did a lot of good deeds. A very humble person. When I went to Israel 2 years ago to meet with the prime minister and the president, I was a young kid. He was from the cheshuvim, the important people on the trip. And it's interesting, it was a 5-minute memorial video of him. His name was Mendy Klein. He was, I think, the largest property owner in Ohio, certainly in Cleveland. And like he was talking, like, when you do something and you see you can make an impact, when you do something you see you can make an impact, it empowers you to do more. If I would tell you or I, if we saw that, like right now, we're learning, we're studying, we're davening, if you're a lady dressing tznius, honestly, to dress more careful. I've had many women tell me, what difference does it make? Men should look at me, if you would realize that you're spiritually affecting the whole world, right? If a person, the way they speak to their spouse, it's not just their spouse, but you would see that. Imagine you would just see that you're holding up the world. If you it would empower you. Like when you see that you're doing something, it's empowering. And the fact is, we are. The fact that what Chaim is telling his students is, you need to know that. Avodah haliyah hazu, and right now it's all important. It's always important. It's always important. The world is always, we live in a crazy world today, by the way. In general, we live in a world, it's a sick world. It's pashut a sick world. It's so perverse, so sick. So, Dale Slater sent me an email yesterday asking me how to handle this in Stanford Law. This coach, this debate coach, wants to call they. Mashugana, a pronoun. And then this email that these people send out, you should, in general, it's good if you call yourself a he or a she and you put it what you want to be called. Some are they, some he's or she, some she's or he. Like, sick, pashut sick. Well, I feel bad. It's a nebuch. We don't hate anybody. We feel bad for them. They're messed up in the head. They? You're a they? Where are you? What are you? They? Sick. And what's sick is not that this person thinks that's bad enough. That these people reinforce it for the person. They create they create this ambiance where this becomes normalized. And they write books to normalize it. And they put out ads in the secular media to normalize it. And they embarrass you and they call you homophobic or misogynistic or a racist if you don't agree with their perversions. Sick. And it's nebuch. And we live in a world where so much of these things go on. And it's normalized today. I mean, in general, I'm not joking, by the way. It's a matzav sakana, a spiritual danger for so many Jews today. I can't tell you how many Jews that I meet that are nebuch, not because they're nebuchs, because in society they have crazy ideas, so anti-Torah, so anti-rational. If you'd taken the average Gentile 30, 40 years ago, was told them what people would be thinking today, they would think you're out of your minds. They're crazy. It's not even rational thoughts. So we don't think we need merits. We always need merits. Of course we need merits. But when it's sakana, when the danger is there, when there's a war or there's a plague, or there's a real, today, it's a real threat of economic depression, which could last for years. It's not a joke. And that will have huge impacts on people's mental health, emotional health, financial health. I think that a lot of things are crazy. I think that they are out of their minds. I'm all for keeping healthy. I mean, the damage they're going to do to people for years ahead. I'm dealing with people with emotional damage already, but financial damage, you can destroy people or destroy economies. You want to live in Venezuela? I mean, you're going to be crazy. I'm not saying it's a black and white equation. Certainly not. But, we need, you don't think it's a dangerous situation? I know we don't need merits. Of course we need many merits, and it could be, I'm positive we're going to get through this session. But could be you or me. Anyone. It's that the people will stand there and see, you would see today, it's me. And possibly it is. A person would push themselves. Erech Pulasa Be'esa Milis Amitz. He strengthens himself. The harvest makes him tell you the kamas ve'echas in the amount of good deeds you're doing, in the quality of alkei ayidei tigado tigma komasu rufas, and you also will pick up your spiritual game. Avodas haliyah hazu, this service of growth of aliyah, mitoch hezbainis b'chashiva, that comes from contemplating the importance of our deeds. Bitachon, it's only possible. Imafilu b'shah kazu shel charatz milchama. It's very important because even this time of we're petrified of war, right? Like here, it's not the same. It's really very concerning. We're not that literally. You feel that you have hundreds of thousands of Egyptians and Syrian forces on the border, and all kinds of Iraqi and Saudi support, and then eventually the Jordanians and the Russians are giving all this. Like you feel it's immediate, so you can really get involved with hadas. You can get all in panic mode. Now, I had dealt with someone today in panic mode. When you are in panic mode, you will not make good decisions, and you can't have spirituality. It's literally, it's like water and fire. It doesn't go. So you can't, you have involved or others became a shiur that is gaidol hashab. It's not usually, you can't, imagine you're a soldier. Oh, right? What's going to happen? That's why the Kohen has to tell them, don't go to war if you're like that. You're going to ruin yourself. You're going to ruin the whole team. The panic is the worst thing to do. Panic's when you throw up your weapon, you run for your life. Panic's when you throw in a towel. Panic doesn't allow a person to deal with things intelligently. It's on the contrary, you should know the value, opportunity of the moment, and the possibilities, the hidden possibilities there. And therefore you'll serve Hashem. You will plug away. You'll know that your actions, your deeds, your thoughts, your meisim are going to make a big difference, and you're going to come cool. You're going to do your part. Therefore, you have to, as say, be ragua. If you still be calm, don't lose your cool. The shalom. Because if you're panicky, you won't be able to work on your spirituality. You won't be able to think clearly. You won't appreciate the importance of why you're here at this time. Because every action, every deed that you do tonight, actually, I mean tonight, but tonight for you and I, and in general, because during this kind of time, it's more important. It always makes a difference. We're always in, like you mentioned yesterday, that if you get sick, you have to think of the worst possibility, right? The worst possibility, the worst damage that could possibly be out there. If you have Yiras Shamayim, a person goes to a place which is spiritually negative, you should be petrified and look for merits because of the possibility of failure, possibility of falling, possibility of having irreparable damage spiritually. A person would be in a possibility of death, irreparable damage materially. Also, right? So you think to yourself, wow, I need to have merits. Merits. That's in general, by the way. That's in general. And now, when it's the 6-day war, when you have hundreds of thousands of troops on the border, they're screaming death to Israel, throw them into the sea, and they're brandishing knives and guns and weapons and planes, Soviet MiGs. What you think? You don't think you need to have more merits, right? Or you have a COVID, right, where they're predicting potentially. Actually, I think part of it's again human cause, because if you don't have an economy, you can't. If you lock people in their houses, I don't know how people are going to come out sane. But forget that craziness that reactionary. I actually think part of it is panic. On the opposite way, again, I'm not advocating for people to go dancing and holding hands and not have social distancing or wearing masks. I am advocating for abyssal seichel. But the point is, if you self-cause or you panic, you make the wrong, you can kill yourself. So because it's chashem right now. So you won't fall down. And unfortunately, I'm giving a lot of commentary, but I have seen individuals at this time fly high, really rise to the occasion. Unfortunately, I've seen and heard people collapsing and feeling there's no hope, or what I can't do this anyways. Since I don't have the shul, I don't have this, or what I can't do this anyways. You should not go down a madriga. You shouldn't go down, even though it's scary, even though it's dangerous. Raise yourself, push yourself. Now's the moment you can save lives. You can make the difference. Your actions, your deeds. Listen, Megalis, you say that Lameda Medivrei HaGamara. We look to the Gemara. Tana de Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov. It says in the name of Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov, Afilu b'shas sakana. Listen to this. Even in a time of danger, lo yishana adam es atzman or rabban shlo. Don't leave your position. Don't change your position. Pirush Rashi explains Rashi that Hananiah, Mishal, Azariah, Hananiah, Mishal, Azariah, who we learn in the book of Daniel, were thrown into the fire. Hananiah, Mishal, Azariah, who were thrown into the fire at that time. Hayiluvushin big day tifartan kishahol shlichol kivshan. They still wore their clothes. And Al Yashana Shal Yira Muvual Umufuchad Umispiyash Samafan, which is even though they were at that moment, they're gonna die. The Pasha gonna die. They didn't lose who they were. They didn't change who they were. They knew that first of all, at any moment they lived at a tremendous level of that Hashem could save them. But it wasn't even, here's an amazing thing. They were saved because they kept their calm. Remember that mashal, Nachman Bressel's mashal I said weeks ago, which is a precious mashal, about the person who found a diamond and taking the boat to London, and he's given the first class treatment, and the diamond gets thrown into the sea, and ultimately he would have got thrown off the boat, but he kept his calm, and the captain made him sign over all the wheat to him, and he gets the wheat at the end, and he's even richer. Why did that all happen? Because he kept his calm. Why were Hanan and Mishal Azariah saved? What if they would have panicked? What if they would have changed everything? You think they would have had the merits to have been saved at that moment? They live with, let me make, even, it could have been they would have died at Kiddush Hashem, but they lived their last moments would have been with Kiddush Hashem, not losing the credit. If a person in the last moment of their life collapses, they're lost. They didn't change from who they were because they didn't panic. Hamiri, the great Menachem Meiri, who was from the great late 13th century, early 14th century French sages from Provence. So Menachem Meiri, Kasa Levaris Gemara Lo'olam. This Gemara, it's a Gemara in Sanhedrin. Lo'olam, what is it Lo'olam? Always, even in Ish Tzara, Ye Adam Mesulsel is Mesuder V'na. It should be put together. Shouldn't lose his focus. Bitsura l'sibus, yival l'mikrim. Lo yimavubal b'glaha pachad v'charayim. Don't get all meshuga. Don't get all crazy because you're scared. Because you'll make bad decisions. Not because you make bad decisions. It means you don't realize your opportunity at that moment. You could save yourself. The amazing thing about Bitachon is it's that you believe it's possible and you're never locked. But what we've just been discussing the past 2 nights? It's not that you're not locked, that you can save yourself if you have the merits, Pasha. So you can, even at this moment, even when it looks all dark and all gloomy, if you go ahead and you make the effort, you can save yourself at that moment. So, look, 1 second. But if you're panicked, you're not going to save yourself. You're not going to do a merit. You'll freeze. You'll paralyze yourself. You'll get angry. Don't lower yourself. Don't mitigate what you could possibly accomplish. And don't disgrace and debase the importance of your actions. As a reaction. Because then you give up. It's hopeless. Stuck. It's actually two things. One thing is you deny Hashem and Bitachon, and also deny the value of your deeds by doing that. You don't believe that you can redeem yourself or perhaps the world through your action. That action, that deed that you go ahead can make all of the difference. Ella yame b'shurusa haroyla. No, stay up, live up to your position. I mentioned the talking about the 6-Day War. The next shtickle, I'm going to do this next piece. Actually, is an amazing piece. He gives it. It's going to take that's a much longer piece. It was during the Yom Kippur War. And it was basically learn, how to see God. He gave it during the Yom Kippur War. The Yom Kippur War, day one of the war, Moshe Dayan put his head on the table and said, Chorban Bayis Shlishi, destruction of the third temple. The modern day state of Israel Halavai would be, but it's not the third temple, the third base of Mikdash, but it certainly would endanger, I guess, 2.5 million Jews, and it looked like the war was over on day one of the 73 war. It was really bad. That the Ger Rebbe, the great base of Israel, said that there were more merits for them to win the 73 war than the 6-Day War. I mean, it was just so bad the first day. It was the complete opposite of the 6-Day War of the 6-Day War. But you know how they were saved? It's like, Mamash, unbelievable. Unbelievable. There was one guy on the Golan Heights that stopped the whole hundreds of tanks. One guy, and the Syrians didn't know what was going on, and they stopped it. They would have been down on the ground. Tavares would have been captured by day 2. There's one person who did amazing things on a physical level. What if he would have collapsed? It's hundreds of tanks, 200. I think it's 200 tanks versus him. What if he would have said, forget about it? No, a person has to realize. I actually think it was a muscle for all of us. You and I, it could be that your actions make all this, not just to save your own life. And it's not just physical, it's spiritual, it's emotional, it's financial, your family, and the people you're davening for. If you collapse to all the tefillas, all the prayers, but it's also for Kehillas Yisrael. It's not a time where he was telling his Bacham to lower your game. It's a time to raise the bar. And real bitachon means that believe Hashem could help us. But we need to believe in ourselves as well. We have to realize that if Hashem is speaking to all of us, it's there that we should look to do more. And I've mentioned, we'll pick up tomorrow night, about having long-term changes. And I do believe strongly that it is contingent upon us to have really have taken on something which transforms our lives for the long term. This has been way longer than predicted. Actually, unless with all the loss of life, less. I think they show like there are most of the Midwestern states, the death rate from last year to this year is the same. Has been no change. Obviously, there's COVID deaths, but there's no. There are places that are hot spots, but in general. But it's the shelter in place, forgetting the politics or the decisions that are being made. But what we're going through, I know it's that we're supposed to change ourselves. And just like the world is going to change, it will change in many ways. We need to have left this shelter in place until we change. But it's not just that. We need to be looking and thinking very long and hard and appreciating that what you and I are doing right now, we are on the front lines of the battle. Most of Kehillas Yisrael are not tuned into this. Our goal is to help tune them in, but for ourselves is to tune ourselves in. That literally we're the tankers that can make all of the difference. We are the people who mamish have the ability to rise to the occasion, not to panic, but to pick up our game and to appreciate the value, the eternal value of our deeds. And to the extent we help others in this world, we are, you save a person. There's a Hatzalah-thon yesterday. and my Yosef Meir, I was watching some of it because they're the singers, and he watched some of the different Hatzalas, and they were talking like, what you did. They had these like promos for this Hatzalathon. You would see a person say, "Well, I saved this person, and 20 years later he's walking on the street." That's an amazing thing. You physically saved the person, and 20 years later, could you imagine the schus that if you or I, could save not one, two, hundreds or thousands in the world itself? It's not a joke. We are at a critical time. I noted in the article that I wrote recently, there has been no greater upheaval since World War II than this. And I don't think anyone would dispute that right now. That living in this time comes with it, obviously, some grave dangers. We have to be very fit, take proper precautions, even if the shelter in place is lifted. But it also has a lot of spiritual opportunities for ourselves and responsibilities for the world. And so I think this piece, which she's saying in Freelander in the 67-day war, we would imagine if we would be there listening to this, but Hashem is telling us that to us now. Okay, that's all, folks, for tonight. Have a great night. We will pick up tomorrow night, Laila Tov. But just one thing, we just finished a share. Do me, do yourself, do the world a favor. Do a good deed now. Just when we learn something, don't just do something now, right now, that you would not have done otherwise. Hear the message, right? Do something right now. Call something.
Let's do a good deed.
Give a dollar that's stuck off. Have in Myra.
Can I make you some tea? Can you let that be my good deed?
Can I make you
tea? If you can give me virtual tea. All right, but I actually had tea before this, actually. But honestly, do something now and realize the value of it. All right.
Oh my God.
Good night, everybody.
Good night. Will you have one with me?
no.